Hi, Tracey here, and today I'm going to share with you how multitasking physically burned me. Ouch! So if you're a multitasker, you're going to want to watch this video because I'm going to share with you the 4 reasons multitasking burns you as well. Woohoo! I'm so excited! Yes! Now the other morning, I was making myself a cup of coffee, and one of my clients, a very wonderful client, turned me on to this really cool coffee thing called an AeroPress. I love it. It makes the best coffee ever. I used to be a diehard Starbucks, now I'm a diehard AeroPress. So the way it works is I put the coffee grinds in, I pour the hot water in, I take the filter, the little paper filter, I put it on the filter, and then I take this with the water and the grinds, I put it on so that everything's all tucked in. I let it steep for a minute, and then I turn it over, but because there's a filter, there's no water drips out. I put it over my cup and I press. Delicious every single time. Well, on this particular morning, I was rushing around, making my coffee, making my breakfast, talking on the phone, trying to do too many things at once. And guess what I forgot to do? I forgot to put the filter inside the filter holder. So when I put my filter on, it had no filter. I put it on, went to go pour my coffee, and of course I was in a rush, so I throw my thing over my cup, and all that hot water that was in here went all over my hands and the counter. Gee. It was painful. I'm okay. Thanks for wondering. But it reminded me how much multitasking can burn us. Multitasking, and I know this, multitasking is super bad for us, and it always frustrates me when I hear a presenter or I hear a leader talk about how good they are at multitasking. Nobody's good at multitasking. Multitasking is not possible. Multitasking is bad on so many levels. If you want to be more productive and more effective, stop multitasking. What it really is multitasking, we think we're doing all these things at one time, but we're not. We're switch tasking. So we're just switching between task and task and task and task. And then next time we go back to the one task, we have to remember what we were doing with that. So the number one reason multitasking burns us, it's not good for us, is because everything takes more time when we multitask. So let's say you're working on a project and then you answer your phone. Now, you go back to work on that project and you're like, uh-oh, where was I? Where was I on that project? Well, it's because you're multitasking. You're trying to do too many things at once. So now it takes you 10 to 15 minutes to get back into that project. Multitasking, hands down, takes more time. And then you're kind of stressed out because what if you forgot something? Or what if you're working on that project, so you get that phone call, you go take that phone call, and then you completely forget about the project or whatever you're working on because you went off to go do something else, and now that whole idea, maybe it was an inspiration that hit you, is no longer there. Number 2, the second reason multitasking is so painful and can so burn you emotionally is because you make errors. And I don't know if maybe you've done this. Maybe you've composed an email, then maybe there was another email that dinged in or something like that. And so next thing you know, you're handling that and you send that first email, but you didn't finish that first email. Or maybe you compose the email, the phone rings, somebody interrupts you, or you go to work on this project and you never even actually sent the email. So now you're wondering why people aren't getting back to you, but your email never sent. So now it's in your drafts and now you've long since forgotten about it and you're blaming them. So we make a lot of errors. The quality of our work suffers when we are multitasking. So when you multitask, you're burning yourself also. And the other thing about multitasking is it stresses you out. Have you ever noticed when you're multitasking, you kind of have this feeling, right? Okay, I gotta get this done, I gotta get this done, I gotta get this done. Now you're trying to pop onto your inbox and pop onto that project and then pop onto that phone call and then check your email and then, you got a tweet and it's all crazy. So there's all this stress that goes on with multitasking. When if you slow down, you would accomplish more, the quality of your work would go up, and how much you enjoyed your work and your life would increase as well. The fourth biggest problem with multitasking is you don't get to appreciate the moment. When you are working on a project and you stayed focused, you have been in your zone, you've been in your lane, and you rocked that project, you rocked whatever you were working on, you feel fantastic. You kind of like have a little pep in your step, right? You're walking away going, I rocked that. And it's because you were present with what you were doing. You were present in that moment, really being deliberate about working and putting your best foot forward and really giving it your all. And guess what? The quality of your work goes up. How you feel goes up. You feel fantastic. So we often rob ourselves. When you multitask, you're actually robbing yourself of these really good feelings, of the feeling of appreciation for how good you are at your work, the feeling of appreciation for when you are inspired and you see it through all the way without allowing other people's agendas and distractions and you to hop from one thing to the next. So multitasking can burn you physically, like it did me. We don't want you to get hurt. Or it can burn your work. The quality of your work suffers. You're stressed out, and your ideas. When you're multitasking, you just can't get any good ideas. You're just grinding it out, as my husband would say. So I say the best present to give to yourself, to your work, and to others is to be present. If you find yourself multitasking, stop, breathe, take a big breath in. We're constantly sipping oxygen. Breathe it in. Get some oxygen to that brain and to that body, and then settle in and focus. And of course, turn off all your distractions and all that kind of good stuff. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What about this video was helpful for you? And how do you see yourself pulling back on the multitasking? How will it help you? And I would really appreciate this if you would pass this video along to people who you think rock. And I so appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching, and I really look forward to seeing you again next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.